Okay, showing up live on YouTube. Beautiful. All right, I think we have all systems go. Welcome, welcome, welcome to my very first Freedom Friday live on ZoomTube, I'm calling it, because we are simultaneously streaming on Zoom as well as YouTube. And I just want to double check one more thing here and then we will get started. All righty, so we've got the YouTube here and looks like, okay, I think we are in business. So first of all, I just want to take a moment and say thank you for joining me today, whether you're tuning into the replay later or, showing up here live during today's exciting call. And I have a few announcements I want to make before we dive into today's topic, which is 3 Horsey Hacks to really help you navigate these accelerating and changing times for more emotional freedom, for peace, for really that in many ways what feels like a supernatural strength and stamina and stability that we can lean into the medicine of horse and source to help us at this time and beyond. So my name is Helena Das, and I want to thank you again for joining me on my YouTube channel, Ride, Pray, Love, where again, we're all about connecting with horse and source to really uplift and empower you during these rapidly changing times. And again, let me make a couple of announcements before we dive in. I want to thank you in advance if you do get value, if you do really, vibe with my energies and appreciate the message and or messages that I'm sharing with you today and beyond or past videos. Thank you in advance for your support by liking, subscribing, sharing all the ways, whatever way you feel called. Would be grateful. Obviously, I'm a fledgling channel here, so be grateful for your support. The next announcement that I have for you is depending on how you are joining, because this is a little bit new technology here, and I think I actually can see both chats, but if you are desiring to chat with me or interact with me, please feel free to write in the chat as we go, either on Zoom or in the YouTube chat section. I'm gonna, excuse me, take a sip of my smoothie. Hang on a moment. And excuse me. I don't want this to be like me just talking at you, so please feel free to interact if you have questions. I love to hear how things land for you and what your takeaways are. So just want to encourage that connection and engagement. And then the final piece is I really want to share with you or mention for those of you who maybe have seen some previous videos, and whether you're, tuning in from Zoom from my email list and or again, YouTube, I currently have just a loving reminder that I currently have a very special course that is at a pre-sale introductory pricing, and called Harness the Connection. I have some previous videos I did on it. So if that is something that interests you, I just want to encourage you to check it out before the price goes up, because right now it's at a very special pre-sale pricing. Okay, so just wanted to give you that loving reminder so that you don't miss out. All righty, so we've got I got my notes here, my announcement. You know, before I dive into our topic today, the 3 horsey hacks that we can really, lean into or borrow to, again, experience greater emotional freedom, especially during these changing times. Before we dive into that, which I'm really excited to talk to you about, I have a couple other things I would like to do. One, I would like to just start with a little prayer of intention for our time together. This is something that I like to do, even borrowing again, the wisdom of horse, of meeting and greeting, how they share breath, even in certain cultures, the Maori or New Zealand, the people I have seen and read that they actually will touch foreheads and share breath as a greeting. So I want to take a moment to just, pray and breathe and, greet you in a way for me that feels hopefully honoring to us both. And so if you would like to join me, as long as you're in a safe place, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And if it feels good, one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly, and just drop inside right now. Connect with your breath and exhaling through your mouth. Just let all the old stale energy fall away. Allow yourself to receive another beautiful cleansing breath as you fill up that belly. Without forcing it, just relax and receive. And then again, exhaling through your mouth, letting go and let God. And one more time, by the power of 3, let's see if we can even take a deeper, richer, fuller breath than any of the previous ones without forcing it, just inviting it. Letting that belly expand. And when you feel full, take a moment and see if you can hold it for a moment or 2 or 3. Hold. And then when you're ready, empty and surrender into this precious present moment, time and space together. And from this place, I just want to invite you to take a moment and check in with yourself. Give yourself the gift of presence. And just take a quick body scan, maybe. Notice if there's any areas that might feel tight or that you'd like to relax and just let some tension go. Any stretching, maybe rolling the shoulders, maybe do a little shake. Scan your body and see what's going on. Don't judge it, just observe it with compassion from a neutral place. And the next thing I'm going to invite you to do is tune into, why are you here? Why have you shown up? What brought you to tune into this call today, whether live or the replay? And think about that intention for being here. Whatever that may be, there's no right or wrong answer for you. That's for you in your heart. Why are you here? And maybe set a little intention to be open to receiving the message, the insight, the inspiration, the shift around that intention that brought you here in the first place. And as you just take a moment to maybe anchor into that, I'm going to invite you finally to just be in a place before we come back, to really be open to receive in the way of the highest good, whatever resonates, take, the best and leave the rest. And trust that if you're here, it's for a reason, and that there is something here for you today. And with that, I am just going to invite you to really connect with your heart space and take a moment to feel your heartbeat and know that that heartbeat is actually connecting you to the pulse of the universe. It is also the powerful portal or gateway between your mental body and your physical body, between the upper and the lower. It is also the gateway to infinity. And as you connect with this place and space, just for a few more moments, just notice what is resting in this place. Notice if there is a sense of peace. Is there a sense of joy or trust or sadness or confusion? Whatever is there, just greet it, bathe it, embrace it right now with total and complete unconditional love. Know that you are safe. Know that you are exactly where you are meant to be. Know that you are deeply, deeply supported. Know that you are loved beyond measure, and that you are also powerful beyond measure. Know that you are enough. And so with that message that wanted to come through today, as we slowly come back, I'd like to invite you to rub your hands together and feel that heat that builds up. That is the energy flowing from your heart down your arms into your palms, covering your eyes to receive the blessings as you gently allow yourself to come back. And let the light in slowly to the room. And so, my love, thank you for joining me with that prayer. And what I want to share with you before we dive into our topic, it was really just on my heart because this morning, first thing when I went to feed, when I went out the door, it was kind of raining and drizzling. And the very first thing that greeted me that I saw were two beautiful deer. It looked like one was larger and darker, and then the other one might have been a fawn. They were far enough away, I couldn't quite tell. And I didn't have my glasses on. Anyway, for me, they're really magical, and I feel blessed that we live in a rural area, that wildlife is something that I get to enjoy. And so I wanted to talk to you about, for a few moments, about the message, the spirit of gentleness that's really coming through to share with you today, especially because we are going through such, in many ways, dark and heavy times, yet simultaneously extraordinary times. It's that duality, right? And so, there's the saying, the darker the dark, the lighter the light. And it is in the darkness that we begin to seek the light. And so if you are feeling the stress, the chaos, the overwhelm, if you're in a dark place, then I want you to know that you're not alone, and that that you're never alone. I'm just checking here to make sure there's not any messages. And the other piece is to really be gentle with yourself too. And this is the message that deer brings. It brings that of one word, it brings gentleness. And as we are, as a society, as humanity, as the different systems and structures are falling away, right? They're all crumbling. You know, life as we know it, the things that were working even a year ago or a couple years ago and back are not working anymore, right? I mean, have you noticed that? And so there's a lot of uncertainty on the planet, and that brings up a lot of fear. And when there's fear, that actually opens the door to other like lower vibrational energies to actually sneak in, right? Because like attracts like. And so right now, especially if you're tuning into this, that means that you are also a light worker, a way shower, a love leader or trailblazer of light, a change agent, right? And that means that right now that you are probably being asked to actually up your game in terms of your spiritual practice, in terms of connecting with your source, the God of your understanding, and really, really, you know, keeping your vibration high. And I'll just share with you, like personally, that's one of the reasons for me that I transitioned over to, well, actually it wasn't like a, anyway, transitioned over from Facebook, social media platform, to YouTube. Because for me, for whatever reason, the energy on Facebook has been increasingly over the past several months and probably even longer, but I became increasingly aware that the energy for me just felt really heavy over there. And I had so much resistance to going on to Facebook. And, you know, YouTube for me, interestingly, and there's no judgment, right or wrong, whatever, this is just the way I experience it, feels a lot lighter to me. And so I gave myself permission to let go of the rules, the shoulds, you know, of the community, the group that I had built, you know, the whatever over there. I mean, I may go back a later time, I don't know, but right now, all I know is that I was feeling called to really come over to the YouTube platform and, you know, hang out over here more and, you know, really just, you know, grow this space and hopefully reach and connect with more of you and more like-minded souls. Okay. And so I'm just sharing this to inspire you, to be gentle with yourself if there is something in your life, and that's just one example. It could be certain relationships, communities, a job, food, you know, spaces, whatever it is. If there's something that feels heavy to you, if there's something that just, you know, I mean, to really let yourself honor that and to give yourself permission to follow the feel good energies, right? Follow the breadcrumbs towards what really, you know, lights you up, and I like to say excites and delights you. And for me right now, this is one of the reasons I am here. So the gentleness piece, getting back to the deer, I think I got a little off track there. I actually wanted to share a very, you know, because I pulled it out because I saw the deer this morning, and I've actually been seeing them, you know, a handful of times recently. I posted a video on Vimeo that I was able to catch. I'll see if I can post it here as well. But I wanted to share this. This is from the animal medicine cards. I wanted to just share this passage about gentleness this is from Native American teachings, so, and the deer. So let me just read this to you because it really felt like during this time of chaos and darkness and all of that, I felt that when I read this, I got chills, and the spirit was telling me to share it with you as well today. So one day, Fawn heard Great Spirit calling to her from the top of Sacred Mountain. Fawn immediately started up the trail. She didn't know that horrible demon guarded the way to Great Spirit's lodge. The demon was trying to keep all the beings of creation from connecting with Great Spirit. He wanted all of Great Spirit's creatures to feel that Great Spirit didn't want to be disturbed. This would make the demon feel powerful and capable of causing them to fear him. Fawn was not at all frightened when she came upon the demon. And this was curious, as the demon was the archetype of all the ugly monsters that have ever been. The demon breathed fire and smoke and made disgusting sounds to frighten the fawn. Any normal creature would have fled or died on the spot from fright. Fawn, however, and gently said to the demon, "Please let me pass. I'm on the way to seek Great Spirit." Fawn's eyes were filled with love and compassion for this oversized bully of a demon. The demon was astounded by Fawn's lack of fear. No matter how he tried, he could not frighten Fawn, because her love had penetrated his hardened, ugly heart. Much to the demon's dismay, his rock-hard heart began to melt, and his body shrank to the size of a walnut. Fawn's persistent love and gentleness had caused the meltdown of the demon. Due to this gentleness and caring that Fawn embodied, the pathway is now clear for all of Great Spirit's children to reach Sacred Mountain without having to feel the demons of fear blocking their way. Deer teaches us to use the power of gentleness to touch the hearts and minds of wounded beings who are trying to keep from Sacred Mountain. Like the dappling of Fawn's coat, both the light and the dark may be loved to create gentleness and safety for those who are seeking peace. Anyway, I was really, again, inspired to share that with you since my magical deer sighting first thing this morning that was on my heart, and I wanted to share that. So, you know, again, just the reminder that really wants to come through around gentleness to yourself and others, right? So, you know, the 3 horsey hacks that I wanted to share with you today as we can lean into really the golden nuggets and wisdom of horse. You know, I really want to start off with the power of presence as this first horsey hack, if you will. And of course, horses are, excuse me, naturally, I mean, they're such masters at being and living in the present moment, right? They can really and truly, you know, have something going on, right, in their environment. They can spook or, you know, run, but, you know, 5 minutes later, they can go back to grazing and be totally in that present moment. And I want to invite you to join me in taking a moment to check in with yourself. And this is, I'm going to give you a little taste of some of the things that I do and how I work with my clients, but, you know, in terms of body-centered awareness, because this is how we can learn to master and, you know, the practice, if you will, build the muscle is what I was looking for, of being present and being in the present moment, because it is truly in the present moment where all of our power lies. It's where the wisdom, the intuition, the discernment, all of that, we have access to that in a more full, richer way. When we're not present, we're actually giving away our power. And so I want to, you know, maybe you've heard about being present, but maybe, you know, like me a long time ago when I first heard about it, maybe you're like, okay, well, how do I do that, right? So I want to give you some practical tips here today. And these 3 horsey hacks are actually all kind of connected, but just for the sake of teaching, that's how I'm breaking them down. Anyway, one of the ways that we can check if we're being present is to actually tune into our body's wisdom. When we take the time to notice and be aware, can just teach and tell us so many things. So I want to invite you right now to actually check in with your body. Like right now, I'm noticing, you know, you notice your posture. Are you like leaning forward, or are you leaning back, or are you kind of in a nice neutral position. I actually have a pillow here. And so I noticed I was actually leaning forward. And when I noticed that I'm doing that, and it's funny, when I first started taking writing lessons, I always was like leaning forward, and that was just a thing. But anyway, learning to just notice, like, are you in this neutral space again? Or if you're leaning forward, maybe you're like hurrying or rushing to get to the next thing. You're future oriented, right? And, or if you're really leaning back, right, then maybe there's a relaxation, a settling either into a comfort zone and or, the past, right? We can get stuck in our past stories. And a great way to just shift the energy, even right here, right now with me, like notice how you feel when you just get yourself into a more neutral position in terms of, again, the front, back, and neutral. And so as you're in this neutral position, that's just one piece. I'm giving you a little power tip here. One way to check where your energy is and how present you're being. And again, that allows you to have a much richer experience in wherever you bring this to, as well as access your full power. Now, when we're not present, right? I mean, I used to be like always rushing around, totally scattered energy, before I started doing this work. And bumping into things, right? Misplacing things, forgetful, all of that, right? And when we can, again, practice this art of dropping into the present moment, we'll notice that those things, the scattered energy, the leaking of the energy doesn't happen. That can go away, right? Or as often, right? Again, it's a practice. It's a new muscle. The other piece that I want to bring in is also, we spend as humans, right? We spend a ton of time up here. And while we need our thinking mind, while the mindset and the mentality is an important piece of our wisdom and who we are, we have a tendency to like disconnect from the neck down, right? So, automatically, like, our heart center is, we just did that little meditation or prayer. Our heart center is such a powerful, intelligence, right? And our belly, our gut intuition, right, lives, in our gut, right? And so when we neglect to connect with these parts of ourselves, okay, we are giving our power away, and we are also, again, not receiving the rich wisdom and intuition and experience that we could be and we would be when we're being present. Okay, and so this is just such a powerful piece. I mean, we could talk the whole call just on this, but I do want to cover the other two pieces for you. And so, this power of presence, again, is one that you can just even, just as a way to start is maybe set your alarm like 3 times a day or a couple times a day, and just get into the habit. Take a couple minutes and just notice, stop, slow down, breathe, notice your breath. Are you breathing, rapid, shallow from your chest? Are you relaxed and allowing full belly breaths, right? Just notice, stop and get present. And the more you build this muscle, you will notice the ripple effect of, greater energy, focus, clarity, and so much more. Okay. And again, the horses are just naturally masters at this. And if you spend any time with them at all, you will see this. I'm sure you've experienced this. So the power of presence is the first Horsey hack that we really can, again, practice to really allow ourselves, because here's the other piece before we go on to the next, is that when we're in that present moment, then we can't be simultaneously worrying about the future or, ruminating about the past, right? We can't do that. You're either in the present moment, you're reliving the past, or you're, worrying about the future, right? And so this allows us, right? Because typically it's in the past or in the future when we're worried or, stressed out or thinking about all of those things, right? That's that emotional freedom that I'm talking about, right? When we drop into the present moment, everything right now, right here in this moment is okay, right? Everything right now, right here, this moment. If you connect with your heart, if you connect with your body and your belly, right? You can just be for a few moments and rest in that peace and rest in the connection with, again, the God of your understanding, the source, the divine energy, intelligence of the universe, the creator, right? When you can rest and connect to that place, not only do you plug into a wealth of, again, energy, wisdom, vitality, and beyond, you alleviate and get away from the energies of fear and stress and struggle and all the things, right? And then you can even bring breath in to take things to a whole other level, okay? But we're not gonna go there today. So that is the first Horsey hack I want to share with you. The second one is what I like to call emotional agility. I actually borrowed this term. I want to give credit to Linda Kohanoff, her Way of the Horse deck. And by the way, on that note, I am save the date if you're interested in, if you like the Oracle cards. I am thinking of hopefully starting next Wednesday, a wild card Wednesday or a Way of the Horse Wednesday. We'll see, where we'll pull a few cards and just, bring in that energy from that piece. Okay, for fun, for entertainment purposes only. So, wow, this is so purple. Hang on a moment. All right, so the second Horsey hack that I want to share with you is, again, the emotional agility piece. So again, it is kind of connected in the example I gave you, where a horse is always in the present moment and they can, go from, that flight or fright energy, and their whole body is going to do whatever it is that's going on for them. They might freeze, they might run, right? Or in rare cases, fight. And once that perceived threat for them has passed and has gone, they can go back to grazing and be, at peace in that present moment. And, unlike us, where we can, as humans, often, again, just keep ruminating and running, something over and over and over again and getting stuck in these like mental loops, right? These loops of, the story or the event or whatever it is that we're preoccupied with, right? So that ability that the horses have to really navigate and dance, that emotional agility, I love that description. As we practice building that muscle, then we have emotional empowerment and mastery over our emotions. And if we remember that simple description that emotions are just energy in motion, if we let it move through our bodies, right? This is what the horses do in that description I just gave you, right? If we let it move through our bodies instead of trying to block it, instead of trying to suppress it with, food or drink or other types of addictive behavior, and there's no judgment here. I mean, I did that for years and I'm still a work in progress, okay? However, the more that we can allow ourselves to just let these emotions, these energies move through us without judging them, without suppressing them. And obviously, side note, like we don't want to hurt ourselves or anyone else, right? In a safe, healthy manner. However, becoming that witness, and or if there is a time and a place like that sacred holy rage, right? Maybe we need to go and lock. I've done this. I've gone into a car and closed all the windows and just screamed, right? Like to let it express it out in a healthy manner, right? So it doesn't get stuck in our bodies, because that's what happens as humans when these emotions actually get stuck and we don't process and release and express them, right? They crystallize and they become pain bodies. And those pain bodies create illness, disease, emotional problems. They cause, in essence, energetic blockages, which over time can actually become physical blockages, okay? So it's so important to allow ourselves and learn how to navigate our emotions in a healthy, helpful way, okay? So that is the second Horsey hack for you. And the last, and the other piece that I wanted to share around that is just being reminded, Spirit's reminding me, is that, with a lot of the energies, again, that are going on the planet right now, the darkness and heaviness that I was speaking to earlier, when we are, like the planet is, like everything is accelerating. Chances are, that, right? It's such a powerful, powerful pace, okay? And I honestly don't think there's a human or animal on this planet that is not feeling it on some level. Okay, they may or may not be aware of what is going on, but I really believe that we are all being affected. Now, what I want to say here is, if you notice yourself, again, especially as an empath or sensitive soul, who you don't have the energy management down yet, you haven't mastered the art of presence yet, that is going to, as I mentioned earlier, make you more susceptible and vulnerable to taking on the energies of others, right? If we're not managing our own energy and we're scattered and we're not home, right? If we're disconnected from our body, then, and our energy and our power, that's going to, let's just say, make us more susceptible or vulnerable to take on a lot of these other energies, okay? That's one piece, okay? And so, there's a piece around knowing what's ours and what's not. And again, we're all connected. So chances are you're feeling, the collective stuff, and then whatever is really triggering you, that's again, that's your stuff. You're bumping up again that like attracts like. You're bumping up again that unhealed, unresolved trauma that is needing attention, and why it's triggering you. That's the sign, right? That is the little alarm that's saying that needs attention or it needs healing. So what I'm wanting to say about that piece of when we haven't learned this, when we haven't mastered, and why it's so important for us to learn to master and have this energy management, and also give ourselves permission to have that self-care, to put ourselves in communities, in environments where we are feeling safe, where we are being uplifted and not bombarded and not overwhelmed with all of the things, right? As we're building that muscle, that can be really, really, important. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot harder to do, right? And who wants to work that hard, right? So the other piece that I want to share is that there is right now, with all this acceleration, if you are someone who is on the journey, who does pray and meditate and have some sort of spiritual practice and awareness and consciousness, you may have been noticing the energies are getting heavier, and and I'm not immune to this. I just went through like a couple months of sort of a soul sabbatical and really deep introflexion and introspection. And, it was also my solar return. And, something that really, really came to me, that hit me, that feels important to share, is that, a lot of this is that we are actually just releasing all of these negative energies, again, collectively and individually, and there's some overlap there. And so, when something heavy comes up for you, and this really helped me, is if you can shift your perspective and perhaps choose to look at it as simply a release versus feeling like there's something wrong with you, or why am I depressed, or why is this, that kind of thing. It's when we judge it, right? It's when, one of the biggest things I learned about this whole emotional agility thing is when we judge it, okay, and not allow ourselves the space to, move the energy as I was sharing about, then we actually lock it into place. Then we actually end up, getting stuck, and it feels harder to get out of or crawl out of that, that hole or that downward spiral, because we're judging it and making it wrong. And somehow we feel like we shouldn't be, or don't want to feel that way, or we isolate, or whatever it is, right? And that is the piece that I think can really help. I know it did me, to shift it, is to know that because of these energies, that there is such a purification and purging going on. If we can look at, you have to decipher for you, discern for you what is going on. If there's a deep healing and inner work that you need to do, there's also a place for that, right? But I also feel like a lot of us are, on the ascension journey, are simply being cleansed and purified, and that, a lot of these energies are just simply, falling away again, especially if you have some sort of spiritual practice where you're plugging in, and that they're falling away. And if you view it that way, then I think it's easier to not judge it or feel like, to get caught up in it. And this is something actually that's interesting, because it's something that I often tell my clients when we do some, with the type of energy work that I do with them, is that we do those energy clearings in the moment, and they happen in moments or minutes and can happen very quickly. And yet I always remind them that over the next day or so, they may still feel like some other emotions might come up, and that the body is still just releasing them, because in our dense physical body, it takes a little while to catch up. The 3D takes a little while to catch up to the energetic. So that, just hopefully seeing the release of these energies as one potential can help you move the energy more easily. Okay, I hope that helps, and I hope that makes sense. If you have questions, let me know. Okay, I just want to take a peek here and make sure, okay, I'm not missing anything, because I know I'm chatting a lot here. Okay, so the third golden nugget or horsey hack that I have for you today has to do with alignment. Aligning not only with your soul, but also with your source. And again, when we look at the horses, right? There's a book, I don't remember the author, it's called Horses Don't Lie. They are always congruent, and this goes hand in hand with the power of presence and their emotional agility. But they are always also, because they live off the earth, they are always plugged in, grounded, right? And that grounding, so above, so below, right? That grounding connects them, plugs them in to source and the cosmos and the collective consciousness in the most profound and magical ways that I can't even begin to put into words, as I've observed and experienced from my communing with them the way I do. So that alignment piece, whether or not you have a horse to hang out with at this time. And, I will share, like, summer here in Florida is with the heat and the humidity, and there's been a lot of rain and the bugs and all of that. I really, it has cut into my quality time with my beloved Indigo. And still, I am so dedicated and devoted to having my other spiritual practices to really keep on plugging in to source on a daily. I may skip a day or two here and there, but almost daily devotion. And this is so important. I often like to give the example of plugging in our cell phones, right? We have to plug our cell phone in every day. Otherwise it wouldn't run, right? To get charged. Well, for me, plugging into source through Horse, through my journaling, through my prayer, through my meditation, through, stretching, or, all these different ways, right? Whatever works for you, going for a walk in nature, yoga, whatever works for you, plugging into source every day, at least a few minutes. And quite honestly, with the state of the world, I have had to up my game. I've had to actually, increase the time and give myself, that's like my oxygen mask, right? So, plugging into source, aligning with source, that alignment, which again, that horses naturally do. It's automatic. Okay. I love this vision is coming to me, and I don't remember which Native American teaching it was, where they see the horse as like the ears, are connecting to spirit, like antenna, almost like a crown, right? And then the four legs represent the four directions, and then energy from spirit comes down and then flows into their tail. It connects all the four directions, but then the tail drops down to the ground or the earth, where those energies are also, flow down or are released. And of course, when we either ride or spend time with them, riding is kind of the icing on the cake for me. But, there is that, that double dose, right? When two or more come together, it is done, right? And so that, I think actually Jesus said that. That's the first place I ever heard it. And so when, we in Native American, when we actually sit on the horse, right, that beautiful divine unity and dance and partnership really amplifies the connection to source. And so anyway, quick recap are going to be the power of presence, your emotional agility, having tools and practices for that. And by the way, if this is something you want help with, please reach out and we can chat and see if it's a fit for me to support you. I have different ways of working with people. And then of course, and finally, and least but not last, probably if not most importantly, aligning with source. Or the God of your understanding. And with these three pieces, when you implement them, when you make it a priority, when you commit to cultivating the practice and building these muscles, right, you will find that you more naturally and easily and gracefully navigate these times, these waves, right, these cosmic waves. And these accelerated times, and therefore give yourself in that process the gift of emotional freedom. And that is where, for me, freedom is one of the core values. And I truly believe at the end of the day, all the other things that we might be seeking, whether it's more money, whether it's, a new relationship, whether it's our work, purpose, dream job, all of those things, for me, ultimately, when I dig really deep, the reason that I seek the specific tangible things that I do, and I'm guessing it might be the same for you, is to enjoy a sense of emotional freedom and joy and bliss and peace. And this, experience, like to enjoy the ride, right? That freedom to enjoy the ride without the the fear and the resistance and the all the things that can really block us from receiving our blessings. And at the end of the day, enjoying the ride, right? Enjoying and receiving our blessings and co-creating in this manner. And this is a whole other conversation, but it's all connected, co-creating our reality and our unbridled life. So I hope that this has been helpful. I'm going to take another sip here, and then we're going to wrap this up. And let me see if I have any other notes here. Yeah, I think I feel pretty complete. So again, I want to just thank you for stopping by. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I'd love to hear any comments, how this landed for you. If you have any questions or shares, please feel free to comment below. And I will be coming back and checking later. And again, if you receive value, I'd be thankful for your support in all the ways, like, share, subscribe. If you can think of anybody who might be interested in joining us on this platform, please share the love. So until next time, and yeah, I'm getting the hit right now to go ahead and ask you to keep next Wednesday if you're interested. Again, we'll do the Way of the Horse cards. We'll pull a few cards for entertainment purposes only, and just continue this really, for me, magical conversation around connecting with horse and source and, Gaia and the animal kingdom, as we really anchor in and deepen our connection and our faith and our trust, and really just rise to our full potential in all the ways that your heart desires. So until next time, I am going to sign off. I love you. Namaste. Ciao for now.